The government has confirmed it's received a request from the US for military assistance in the Red Sea that could see Australian mariners facing fire against Iran-backed rebels attacking trade ships. Live now to our Sky News political reporter Joel Philp. Joel, this would really change Australia's role, wouldn't it, in the current conflict in the Middle East?
Ash, these Yemen-based Houthi rebels have been vowing to block ships heading towards Israel until the military operation in Gaza ends. And these groups have been attacking trade ships heading through the Red Sea. So Australia has been requested to send a warship to the region as the United States tries to garner international support and alliance of naval operations to be based there in the Red Sea, a multi-nation coordinated effort to have a presence there in a maritime sense in that Red Sea area as those ships are being attacked. Here's a Pentagon spokesperson explaining.
The actions that we've seen from these Houthi forces are destabilizing, they're dangerous, and clearly a flagrant violation of international law. And so this is an international problem that requires an international solution. We do continue to consult closely with our international allies and partners on implementing a maritime task force. I don't have any specific announcements to make today, and we will have more to provide in the near future.
Meanwhile, Joel, the Albanese government's facing growing backlash after calling for a sustained ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, that's right, Ash. Look, to begin with, obviously Australia backed this UN resolution recently for a ceasefire between the two parties. Now, the United States did not back that resolution because it didn't specifically condemn Hamas. The UK decided to opt out of voting. So we are slightly different to some of our allies around the world there. But here domestically, the Prime Minister, after effectively joining New Zealand and Canada in asking for a sustained ceasefire and the release of the hostages that Hamas is currently holding, is being called out for trying to appease to domestic voters and the Labor left. Here's where this conversation has gone today.
Strong point.
Yeah, but he wants to talk out of one side of his mouth to one audience, and then he wants to talk out of the other side of his mouth, appeasing to the Penny Wong left side of the Labor Party, and protect his own seat of Graindler, where we know they're moving more and more to the extreme left.
I think that's actually an appalling thing to say when thousands of civilians have lost their lives. From the very beginning, the government has said that Israel absolutely has a right to defend itself, but it has to do that in accordance with international humanitarian law.
There are some within Labor's ranks, such as MP Josh Burns, who's currently in Israel on a cross-party delegation travelling through the region, that believe this ceasefire language is undermining the country's efforts.
What I do support is that there be humanitarian pauses. That last time there was a humanitarian pause, it resulted in many Israeli hostages being released. A ceasefire needs to be seen in those circumstances. What country would accept their civilians being under the threat of a terrorist attack?
So, Ash, the acting Prime Minister, Richard Marles, is in the Northern Territory. It's expected that he'll be announcing that there'll be a second contingent, a year-long stint of military personnel heading to Europe to continue to support Ukraine's troops over there in training. It's something they've done over the past year or so. He's likely going to be asked about these two issues, and he's most likely going to say that the government is considering that request for a warship and very little beyond that at this point in time.